Roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Chairman Fogg,
Present.
Commissioner Lawson,
Present.
Commissioner Engelson,
Present.
Commissioner Dory,
Present.
Commissioner Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Mann,
Present.
Vice Chairman Ferry.
Here.
Ma'am, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Now we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Now I'll need the approval of the minutes for the meeting of November 20th, 2024.
I second.
Lawson second. No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. We have the consideration of public comments. Those wishing to address the commission should fill out request forms in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda. There will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The commission may not respond to speakers during the call to the public. The commission may direct the staff to study the matter or request that the matter be placed on a future agenda. Do we have any call to the public?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Robin Gordon's here to speak with you today.
Good morning. My name is Robin Gordon. I'm here with Monica Galika. She's a local artist. And we're here this morning to ask you to consider, or refer to Mike, I guess, an idea that we would like to paint this mural down at Metcalf Park. I'm part of a group called Sounds of Kingman. We've been doing concerts in Metcalf Park. This will be the start of our 14th season, which I'm really proud of. And we would like to spend some money improving the park. The picture you have before you is Monica's design. And what we're looking to do is to paint this on the side, what's basically the back of the bathroom building. The reason we want to place it there is because we feel that then the mural will be able to be seen from the street. We had originally thought we would put it on the back of the stage, but there's already a big plaque that we put there when we built the stage. And we thought that it would make more sense to have this kind of a mural where it's seen by more of the public. So people driving up Grandview and people coming down into town would be able to see it. So we think that might provide a photo op and draw people into the park. So basically, I'm looking this morning to give you this information. Monica's a local artist. She's come up with this design. The design will include not only the coating that makes it easier to remove graffiti off of, which I hate to say, but also a coating that'll help it with protect it from the sun. So we'll be paying for this project. We've already raised the money to do it. And so we're just looking for the permission. I understand this will be the first mural on a city building, which I'm kind of surprised by, but glad to be. The first of anything, I guess. So with that, I know you can't ask any questions because we're not on the agenda, but Mike and I have already met and talked about what we were planning on doing, so he's well aware of what we're doing. So I guess that's all I really have for this morning. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm real excited about this project. I think it'll be a nice improvement to Metcalf Park and also give people an opportunity to pull up in front and take pictures and stuff, which is one of the things that murals attract tourists. So as you'll probably well know, the longer they stay in Kingman, the more money they spend here, and we like that. So with that, I don't know, Mike, do you have any questions for me?
No, I can't. Thank you.
You can't talk?
I can't talk.
Oh, Mike, I know you know how. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, also. Thank you. We should put this on the next agenda, okay? If you're all in agreement on that? Yeah. All right. Let's go on to new business, open meeting law.
That would be me, and the reason why you can't talk during your call to the public. So my name's Carl Cooper. I'm the city attorney. I know a number of you. As I'm the city attorney for the city of Kingman. Normally I sit up here for the council meetings. I come in to these commission meetings just to give some open meeting law training. Some of you have already been on commissions. You've had it before, maybe by the city clerk. Amy Schreiber back there is my deputy city attorney. She might be doing some of these in the future. So we'll just get it started. Open meeting law is state statute. Am I doing this? You're doing it? Me? Nope, someone did it. So I'm kind of a prima donna when it comes to PowerPoint, so I usually have to have somebody forward it and create it for me. So basically, and I don't want to read all of these slides to you because you all can read, but it's the public policy that all meetings that are about city business have to be done in public. When those rules in the statutes are interpreted about open meeting law, it always has to be interpreted to mean the most open and transparent. So if it's kind of close, you're like, well, I don't know if we have to do that. We should do it by default. All right, next one. That's what I just said. So basically the highlight, public business must be conducted in public. Next. So as I said, it protects and preserves the right to participate. That allows folks here to show up, to watch. They can record. They can take pictures. They can talk. They call to the public or public hearings, but they can't disrupt. So if that becomes a problem, we address that. And as it says, it protects the integrity of government and better informed citizenry. Next. You are the public body. It specifically relates to commissions and subcommittees. We don't do subcommittees on these commissions, but it's the city council, the boards, and the commissions. Next. So a meeting, this is a meeting. If there's a quorum, which in a 7-member body is 4 or more people get together and you're talking about the business that could come or will come before you, you don't need to talk about it. You just need to avoid it. And it talks about you can do by technological devices as well. So that means texting, phone calls, could be social media. So if you're posting something on social media about something that, I'm in support of this and I'm gonna vote in support of this, and then some of you see that posting and then you comment on it, yeah, I'm gonna do that, or I support it, I like it. If you hit a quorum, that could become a meeting violation. So you just wanna be careful about what you do online or in public about discussing these topics. Next. I already said that, so next. So these are the various social media. There's more out there. I can't keep track with all of them. I am too old to understand all of that. Go back. So the email portion, again, that could happen with an email. So if you get emails from staff or somebody else, don't reply to all, because if you reply to all, that could somehow create an open meeting law violation. So you just want to be careful about that. And this also talks about if 2 of you talk about something, then 1 of you goes to somebody else, and then that person goes to the 4th person, that's splintering the quorum or creating a chain communication, open meeting law violation. So it doesn't matter how you transmit it, it just matters if you get 4. Is that splintering? Yeah, and that's probably on one of these slides. So let's go to the next one. Splintering the quorum, so good call. That's basically splintering the quorum. So you just want to be careful about that. We'll get to enforcement in a little bit. Next. So with council meetings, commission meetings, you have to have at least 24-hour notice to the public so they're aware of it and they can show up. So that's the posting requirements. We try to do further in advance of that just to make sure that people have that opportunity to be made aware and show up. But if you don't have the posting within 24 hours, you don't get to have your meeting. And that's happened sometimes in the past, where just a mistake, there's a strict posting requirement, and sometimes all the strictness doesn't get met. We've had to cancel meetings. Next. So the agenda basically explains where and when you're going to meet and about what's going to be discussed. So when you talk about the call to the public, well, it's on the agenda that people can speak. The item itself is not on the agenda. So that means, speaking of this mural thing, what if somebody else wanted to talk about the mural or they're against it? Well, they wouldn't have that opportunity to voice that. So you can only have items that are listed on the agenda to be discussed. So that'll be up to you to keep everybody in line to make sure you're staying on topic. It's what I try to do when I'm at council meetings. And then Mike can be made aware of it, or some of the staff. So we just want to make sure we keep as close to the topic as possible. And I know they're chuckling over there because sometimes I jump in the middle of the meeting and go, oh, you're going too far off. And there's some tangents that I understand that you can have a discussion that you'll wrap up into the main point. And sometimes I'm pretty lenient on that, and sometimes I'm not. But you just want to be careful to stay as close to the topic as possible. Next. If it's not on the agenda, you can't talk about it. Anything that you talk about that's not on the agenda, if it's not properly noticed, violates the open meeting law, it's null and void. Next. Call the public, we've kind of already talked about it already. You don't get to respond. You have an opportunity if someone got up here and called you filthy scoundrels or something like that, sure, you could respond. I recommend you don't, because that person's gonna come right back and say something again. They'll be at every meeting saying something. I think it's best, let them get it out and just move on. That's my opinion. But sometimes people differ. Next. So, as we said, you can respond to criticism after the close of the call to the public, ask staff to review it, place it on a future agenda, or just sit in silence. Next. So, as I said earlier, they can attend, listen, tape record, videotape. They can speak only when asked at public hearings or call to the public, or if, like, we have an agenda item and you're leaving it open for discussion, but they can't disrupt. Next. So violations. If some citizen reports a violation or the Attorney General's office catches it, what they'll do is send me a letter saying, hey, this happened on such and such date. I generally would respond and say, that's not how it happened, or you're right, it did happen, and these are the actions I've taken to correct it, which usually is an educational piece, which would be this. I would come in and say, hey, we did this wrong. This is what we need to do. The AG does not want to punish people. They just want it not to happen. They want education. They can remove people from position. They can fine them, and it's a personal fine. It's not payable by the city. But I've not heard of that happen. It's never happened here, and I've not heard of that happening. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but I haven't heard of that happening anywhere. Next. Conflict of interest, this is a good one to talk about. Conflict of interest is not a dirty word. It just means you have some interest in something. If you have an interest in it, monetary, proprietary, just say, hey, I've got a conflict. I don't want to be part of the discussion or the decision. I'm going to step out. That's all you got to do. You got to fill out some paperwork with the clerk, and it just says that's what you're doing. It's everybody in government, and now it's you for the new folks on this commission. Next. So basically, and it does involve a relative, which would be close relative, mother, father, mother-in-law, father-in-law, sisters, brothers. If there's money involved or ownership, control, think about it. Call me, call the city clerk, we'll sort it out. Because I don't know what your businesses are, I don't know what your families do, so I don't know off the top of my head if it'll be a conflict. But if you think you have some involvement, let's sort it out. Next. There's a thing called remote interests. Those are defined very specifically. I think I have a slide. Let's go to the next slide. I'm not going to go through all those. There's a lot there. Do they have a copy of this? Yes, sir. Okay. You can kind of go through. The one I always like to point out is there's one where if you're a particular class of person, meaning if you're a home builder, if there are more than 10 home builders in the community, you can jump in and have rules and regulations regarding home building. If there was less than that, if there's only 2 people that build homes in the community, then you'd say, I have a conflict if this would involve home building, and I'll step out. And that's what these remote interests are. They're trying to look at, ownership interests and corporations, relationships, that sort of thing. I don't want to go into those. They can be kind of confusing. That takes a little more involved discussion. But if you have a question, call. Next. That's more remote interests. Again, we don't need to go through that. Next. So these are the statutes that are about conflict of interest or open meeting law. You can go on to the internet and find all that. It's all there. Call me, call Amy, call the clerk's office. Next. So basic parliamentary procedure is the next phase. That's just rules of conduct. We do not follow Robert's Rules of Order, so you don't have to worry about that. That is a book this thick that's confusing. To me, it's designed to stifle discussion. It is not helpful. So we just look at some very basic things. So let's go next. Motions. That's really the biggest thing you have to worry about. Obtain the floor from the chairperson. Once you're recognized, you can make your motion. I move that we approve this. I move that we deny this, whatever you're looking at. You get a second. The chairperson can make the motion, the chairperson can second, and the chairperson can vote on the motion. Once you have a second, you can see if there's more discussion. If you want more discussion, you can have that discussion. Once it's done, ready, the chairperson has called for the vote. If there's no second, it dies. If it ties, it dies. Next. And basically, this kind of goes back, chairperson, make sure we all know what the motion is. So sometimes it's really good for you to restate the motion, especially if it's a little more convoluted. Because sometimes, I move to approve is easy, but we've seen some motions that kind of happen out there and we all scratch our head a little bit. So let's make sure we understand exactly what we're doing. Next. So, as it says, parliament procedure is just a good way to keep things in order. Obtain the floor, speak clear, concisely, obey the rules of debate, and as I always says, be courteous. We've all seen YouTube videos of council meetings that get out of hand, seen fisticuffs. We don't want that. Let's all just kind of play nice with each other. So, any questions?
Is the mere presence of 4 or more people in the room considered a quorum?
No. If you are at a party, you're good to go.
Okay.
If there's going to be discussion about something that would come in your purview, you want to separate. Or if it's like, you just want to be careful. Just don't discuss anything.
Okay.
But yeah, there's social events. You're more than welcome to attend. If there's somebody there sniffing around looking for trouble, you might, meaning they're, I don't want to say the press, but somebody who's a repeat complainer, you might want to just stay away from each other a little bit. But yeah, you can all go to a birthday party, a social event, hang out at the bar, whatever you want.
Chamber of Commerce meeting in the
Chamber
morning?
of Commerce.
That's
meeting,
okay?
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am?
I just had one question about the subcommittee. Is that our policy as a city not to have subcommittee?
It is in our code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess a lot of that goes back to subcommittee is still in a meeting. Sometimes it's just what you could get all the same information done with a whole committee or commission as opposed to a subcommittee. If we want to do subcommittees, then we have to petition that through the council to change our city code.
Okay, that makes sense. And then because we're quarterly, sometimes it might be hard to get things done. If it was really pressing, we could do like a special meeting.
You can always do special meetings,
Okay.
yes. Subject to Mike's approval. And Jean. I'm just teasing, so. Any other questions? Just remember, call. That's what I'm here for. All right, have a great day. If I'm not.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. All right, we're moving on. New business B, election of chair and vice chair. Do we have any nominations? Nomination for chair?
I do. I nominate Karen Fogg for chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, do we have any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, maybe we have a vote. Who's all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion has passed. Now, a nomination for vice chair.
I move we nominate Miss Ferry.
Okay, a nomination for Commissioner Ferry. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, let's have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, vice chair. There's Ferry again. We're going to move on to new business C, pickleball club. This will be what the pickleball club is doing in our community. We'll have discussion and possible action.
We should just build a space to progress.
Oh, the space bar moves it? Okay. Excellent. All right, let me put this water. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jess Hawkins. Some of you may know me. I was raised here in Kingman, and I am happy to be here today. I'm also an avid pickleball player, and yes, I definitely eat more chocolate so I can, I play pickleball so I can eat more chocolate, so it definitely applies. Before I begin the presentation, I have a few thank yous that I'd like to do. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to present this information to you. I do appreciate your time and your interest in the sport. I also would like to thank Mike Mearsman and the commission for the shade sails that were put up between the walkway of the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. That shade will provide much needed relief in the summer when we play pickleball. So we thank you so much for that, and we look forward to that this summer. So very excited about that. We also want to thank Mike and the commission for looking at making tennis court 4 a dual-use facility for both tennis players and pickleball players. That is greatly needed as demand continues, and it's a temporary fix that will definitely help until more permanent, dedicated facilities can be built specifically for pickleball. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank Yvonne Casio and Teresa Cunha for all of their help with making reservations and just generally being supportive of pickleball. And also I want to thank Jerry Sipe for helping us with the memorial benches. So we recently purchased a couple of benches in honor of some people that are really good people that deserve the recognition. So thank you guys so much. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about pickleball. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with it. Some of you are familiar with the sport. I also want to talk just a little bit about the club and encourage you to come on out and join us on, we do have a beginner session on Sundays at 1 o'clock and at the pickleball courts. It's an opportunity to just get a feel for the sport, try it out, see if you like it before you spend any money on gear and equipment. So great way to find out about it. So we would welcome you to that. And also you can share the news with the community as well. So one of the things about this sport is that it is one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. Data shows that just from last year for 2024, it grew over 51%. I'm not surprised by that, and I'm sure you guys aren't either. Our club has experienced 100% growth since last year. So we are definitely feeling it in the community. We're excited that our numbers have increased so much. So that's really impressive. So just something, to be aware of. And why is it? Why is it so popular? Well, it's super fun, and it's easy to learn, hard to master. If you've tried the sport, you'll know what I mean. It appeals to all ages. It's not expensive, and you really don't need much to play. You just need a paddle, a ball, nets, and a court. And in fact, a lot of people are buying portable nets and setting it up in their driveways and so forth. So it's just fun for the whole family. So how cool is that? Okay, so I love humor. So it is a fun game, and it's highly addictive. And I will be the first to admit, hi, I'm Jess, and I'm addicted to pickleball. It's brought a lot of joy in my life, and it's for that reason why we are so excited about it, to spread the word, because it brings you so much joy and happiness, and it's just so much fun. So you need to come out and try it. And consider yourself forewarned, because you're bound to get addicted to the sport. And this is kind of how you feel. You're like, oh my God, I'm so excited to play today. And then you have a game that's just terrible. And then you're like, oh no, I'm never going to play it again. And then I just can't wait to be back again tomorrow. So why is it that we're not surprised that our numbers have grown 100%? It's just such a fun sport. So the beginning, Beth Ferry, Carolyn Palmquist, Nancy Black, Della Heiser, and a few other people, they started playing on the basketball courts, the outdoor courts. They set up their portable nets. This was around COVID, 2021. And then in July of 22, they decided, okay, well, let's form a club. And at that point, they didn't even have 25 people. But to become a member of the USA Pickleball Association, you got to have at least 25 people. And at that point, they thought, well, we'll be lucky if we even get 25. Well, holy schmoly, today we have over 210 people playing. As a matter of fact, I checked, and we actually have 219 members as of yesterday. So, and we are still growing. So how about that? We offer open play 7 days a week at the courts. We have hosts that host a session. And in addition to that, we provide pickleball sessions, we provide training opportunities, clinics. We also help the city maintain the courts. So whenever we're out there playing, we pick up trash, we help sweep, we clean it off. We're also looking at adopting the courts as well. So that's something that you can look forward to in the future. And then most recently, we established a charity fund. And this is for nonprofit organizations in Kingman who need a little financial assistance. And so we don't have a lot of money that we're working with, but nonprofits can apply for those funds. And it's on our website. And if you just Google Kingman Pickleball Club, you'll find us. And charities can you'll see it says charity program, so you just click on that. The application's online. And so it's just a way that we can give back to our community as well. And in fact, we have one of our tournaments every year is to help fund this charity program that we have offered. So how cool is that? So, and then we are working with the city in reference to getting more courts. The demand is there, it's increasing, and we are, like I said, we're very excited that we can get more courts on tennis court 4 and have that dual use, and that's definitely going to help us for right now. But in the future, it would be wonderful if we could get more courts. And then, just like with all of the softball tournaments that are national, that bring in and help with the economy, we could then start hosting some pickleball tournaments that are on a larger scale, which will then just filter those economic dollars back into the Kingman economy. So it's really a win-win. So in terms of some of the benefits of the club, well, a picture says 1,000 words, right? So if you look at the picture, we've got, we have events that we host. This was our Halloween event. We also have a ball machine that our members can check out for free and use to improve their game. We started offering our Friends Tournament, and as you can see here, we've got a few winners. And then we also have some demo paddles that people can try. And they can use it for a couple weeks, get familiar with them, and before they decide to buy a paddle. So those are just a few of the cool things that our club is doing. And how about that T? You're on the cover. But we do encourage everyone to try this sport. We would invite you all to try, as well as the community, to give it a shot. And like I said, we have our beginner session at Sundays at 1 o'clock, and it's a chance to dabble in it and just see if you like it. It's definitely a lot of fun, and we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay, and our whole goal is to share the love of the game and to get people out playing, which is good for their health, mind, and body. So I wish to thank you all for the opportunity to share this information with you today. I don't know if this is within the preview of open law to answer any questions that you may have, but if you do have any questions, I'm here to answer them. So thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yeah, fire
I
away.
wanted to ask this last time. Do you guys have any desire to do like a school team, like high school kids or something?
To clarify, did you say team?
Yeah, or like a club.
Okay.
I'm sorry, team's
Very,
bad,
very,
bad
very
choice.
cool. So this kind of, my answer will kind of dabble with that a little bit. We are getting more youth involved, and a lot of our members have children. And so we are looking at right now to have a host a family day where families can come out and play. So we are interested in that. We just haven't found a host that's willing to help with that. But in terms of where this can go, I think there's definitely opportunities out there for sports teams. And it is being taught in some of the schools. I'm aware of that. At least there's one PE teacher that I know that has been teaching his kids about pickleball and brings nets and so forth. So I feel like that's something that's inevitable. I see this going into the Olympics. I see this expanding greatly into schools, and there are opportunities for growth there. So thank you for asking that. I hope that answered your question. Any others?
I just wanted to thank you guys. You already mentioned that my mom is a big part of your club, but I just, from her, I hear how much it's meant to her and so many people in the community. It's really like a social outlet for a lot of people. But one thing I'm really passionate about is this Adopt a Park program. And so I want to thank you guys for considering to adopt the courts. I already know you guys take really great care of it. and you've fundraised for different things, but I think that's going to be really great for our parks to have that partnership with people in the community to help take care of our parks. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, we're definitely interested in that. And we do have a maintenance committee who's helping us along those lines. And we are looking at that. So I would say stay tuned. There's more to come. But yeah, it's an exciting time in pickleball, and it's a lot of fun. And Beth Ferry is the president of the Kingman Pickleball Club, and she's done a lot for the sport here in the Kingman area. And it's because of her leadership and the people that have joined it that has helped with the growth, for sure. Because it's such a, we're just such a great group of people to hang out with and have fun. So, and that's what, talk about the quality of life. It definitely improves the quality of life in Kingman. I thank you so much for your time. I know you have a busy schedule. If you do have any other questions later on, we do have a contact us feature through our website. So you can just, and I oversee that, so I'd be happy to get back to you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you, Jess. I just wanted to make one comment. About 20 years ago, my husband and I were down in Goodyear watching a spring training game, and we were waiting for the traffic to slow down after the game. And so we walked around the park, and we saw these courts that were a little smaller, and the rackets were a little different, and the ball was a little different. So we asked some of the people, what is this? And they said, pickleball. We had never heard of this. So I couldn't wait to come back on Monday morning and to the parks and say, hey, there's this new thing going on, and it's pickleball. And look what it's grown into here in Kingman. So thank you, Beth and Jess. We're moving on to reports. Hey, it's the Trails Update.
Sorry, it's giving me some technical difficulties. Yeah, I'm clicking share on it, but it's not opening. I'll do this. All right. I think that'll do it. Well, good afternoon, Commission. My name is Matt Golder. I'm the Assistant Superintendent with the Parks Department, and I'm going to be sharing the Trails update with you. Excuse me. So to start the Trails update, I wanted to go over what the current overview of Kingman's trail system is. We currently have 19.6 miles of natural trail. Most of this consists of White Cliffs Trail System and Camp Beale Loop Trail System. We also have Camp Beale Springs, and there are some trails over in the Monolith side of Surbat Foothills Recreation Area that we maintain. With urban trails, we have 3.2 miles in the incorporated area. So I say that because the Mojave Wash Walk Path extends beyond what the city has incorporated, but we do a mile and 1.7 miles of that. And then we have the I-40 walk path and the Centennial Park walk path. Starting late November of last year, we started the Camp Beale Loop Revision Project, Phase 1. So we had our part-time trails keepers, Josh Langdon and Katz, Katsunori Subai. I don't know if he wanted his full name out there, but here we go. But this edition is pretty much all done with just those two, with the help of CRATA for some volunteer days for the handwork. But they cut the trails themselves with an excavator and a lot of handwork. But they added 2.5 miles of trail to the Camp Beale Loop system and then revitalized another 1.5 miles. The good thing about this is a lot of the additions they made were green trails, which is something we really needed in that trail system because everything was more advanced level or expert level. Another thing with these trails, even though a lot of the additions are green trails, there's a lot of neat features that give something for all levels, like something to enjoy, especially with all the pump track additions and like berms they've cut in. So the 2.5 miles of new trail that were cut, you should see they needed a lot of handwork. This is kind of the rough cut in some of these pictures, but it gave a lot of fresh opportunities for outdoor recreation. So it gets away from the mundane trail, and they added some features like with the berms and like the pump track features through there. So signs had been sent off. Katz is currently working on getting all the posts up for that, but once we get those in, that'll definitely improve the area so people know exactly what's going on. We're also working with Trail Forks to hopefully update that for the trails so people can use the QR codes at the trailheads to better find their way around the system until we get the signage up. The 1.5 miles of old trail that were unsustainable, a big portion of it was like formerly known as the lower Beal Loop. It's now the Red Ghost, but a big section of that was redone and areas renaturalized, and then the Beal Monolith Connector kind of had a realignment. There's still the old section that's more for equestrian use, but the new more bike and hike friendly was added. In this slide, to the left-hand picture, this is like the upper Cactus Derby. You could see that berm going into those pump track features. The top right-hand photo there is part of the Red Ghost loop. Just some nice green trails, nice flat ground. And then the lower right is one of the more exciting features of the new Camp Beal loop revision is the off the wall. As you see, you can ride the wall down into a pretty tight hairpin turn berm there. You could also go off to the right and avoid that wall if you do not feel comfortable doing so. But that is a directional trail, so there's going to be signage that you can only flow one direction. That actually comes off the Rattler, the entry for that, so it's a pretty neat little feature. Also with the Camp Beal Loop revision project, we're seeing a lot of increased use, especially for this time of year. Usually colder months, we don't see a lot of, at least hikers out, but the bikers are pretty brave always. January 6th, Mike Mearsman was actually out at the trailhead. He took a photo. There's 25 cars out there, and then just since then, the peak of interest, word of mouth, some Facebook posts. We've had a lot of people coming out and checking out the new trails. Crata also hosted a beginner's day on top of their volunteer day, so they went and led riders, and just helps support newcomers and get people like more interested in, teaches them how to ride. I recently did some riding on the pedal assist bikes. That was pretty interesting, new experience, but I went out with Mike and John Mayer on that. That was pretty neat. Other trail additions, so the White Cliffs Trail System South Trailhead, we installed a bike repair station and some new trash cans. The trash cans were donated by BLM. We've also added some in at the other trailheads throughout the White Cliffs Trail System, plus Camp Beal Loop and Springs, as well as some locations in the parks, but they're pretty hefty-duty, bear-proof trash cans, so that they should hold up pretty well and help keep the trash in and from blowing out. So it's a nice improvement to the trails and the parks. And then we also had to deal with some washout at the Camp Beal Loop trailhead. Unfortunately, a different area has washed out since this last rainstorm, so we'll be doing some more work up there. And then current and future trail projects. So we're working on the trails master plan right now. We had the RFP released late November. That closed the end of the year. We've went through the proposals, we evaluated and scored them, and now we're ready for the next step.
It was approved last night at the council meeting.
Perfect.
So
Master plan's moving forward, but that'll help with a lot of projects down the road, and it helps cost state lands, right? So that'll be a big benefit for trails in Kingman promoting that, and it'll help with another trail I'll discuss here in a second. But the Omaha Drive shared use path is also a project we're currently working on. We're currently clearing desert in that. So we started out in Omaha, or at Southern, going towards Dakota, and then from Dakota we'll go on towards Cheyenne, but we're about halfway through that, so we've made it to Dakota on clearing the desert. Once we're done clearing everything through there, desert construction will come in and they'll actually do the grading and the asphalt, and that's a donation through Engel Homes, so that's a really cool addition for urban trails for the city of Kingman. Campbell Loop revisions phase 2, we're anticipating starting that hopefully the end of this year. That'll add some more trails, kind of actually in the eastern side of the loop, and kind of cross over across the road into the Red Ghost Loop. So there'll be a lot of cool additions with that as well. And then the last one I want to touch on is the Pie in the Sky. It's still in a pretty early planning phase, but it'll be a 20-mile downhill trail with roughly like 5,000 feet of elevation drop. And that'll start in Wallapai Mountain Park, and it'll cross state lands, BLM, some private property, and in downtown Kingman. But that'll be make Kingman more of a destination for trails, along with everything else we have. So there'll be more than just a day's worth of trails to explore. They'll make a weekend trip out of it, but it'll definitely put us on the map for trails, on top of what we've already done and plan to do. But that's all I have for the trail update. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
I would like to thank you guys for all the unbelievable work you've done out there. We ride often, and it's fabulous. Really well done.
Well, thank you. Yeah, a lot of that credit goes to Josh Langdon and Katz. Especially with this, they've done phenomenal work, and we've had a lot of help from Crowd and Ace in the past, and I mean, it's really a whole community thing, so we appreciate it, so thank you.
To add to that, we have some new neighbors from South Africa. And one of the things that impresses them most about Kingman is the trail system. They just think it's fantastic. They use it a lot for hiking and biking. And so I think it really is an asset to Kingman.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, not just the natural trails, but we have a lot of road beds through, especially like the White Cliffs trail system. So there's all kinds of different routes people can take. So it's really exciting. So thank you. So, thanks.
Matt, I just
Yes.
have one thing, or maybe more toward Mike. Had you thought about possibly putting in a name like Mike Smile or Jean's Trail? I don't know if you can personalize some of these trails, but if that thought had ever come down the pipe.
Not really. We haven't thought of that, but thank you for sure, Matt. Matt's done more than he's acting like he's doing. So, and our parks maintenance team has done a really good job with working with our part-time people, and it's really, I'm very, like I said, I'm very proud of what we've done without a master plan. So it's even more exciting to see what we're going to do with the master plan. So I think what we've done is a lot of really good stuff. So.
Okay, I have one more thing. Will the trails be put into the activity guide? They are now.
Yeah.
With a lot of the information.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit in there at the end of and then there is a program Yvonne's probably going to touch on more here in a minute, but in a couple of weeks where there'll actually be a guided hike from the south trailhead to the north trailhead, and they'll have lunch at the golf course and a golf demo.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
I just have a quick comment on that before we leave it. I'm pretty in touch with the public on a lot of these things. And I really want to express how major of a development this has been for the young people. Because we've got to remember their tires are really little, and just the smallest rock is a boulder to them. So the design input that went into this phase of Beale has been beyond needed. I mean, it's long overdue. And we have a collegiate high school cycling team that's taking development this year. And these small little bits of trail that you guys are putting in mean the world to these up and coming, adults and athletes that really needed a forum for them to display their efforts. And I've tipped my hat to you guys on the design work on this. Katz and Josh, they're absolutely professional in how they laid this out. It's literally impossible to go wrong on it. Like the arcs, everything was just flawless. Please tell everybody in the staff that they've done an amazing job.
I will definitely share. We are definitely blessed to have both of them with us. Thank you.
Sorry, just want to say something real quick. I also wanted to say how lucky we are to have Josh and Katz on the team with the city. That is so cool. But I also, again, I always go back to this. I'm just so proud of our city for partnering with CRADA. They've been out there working so hard on those trails as volunteers, and it's so cool to see this partnership and look how much we can achieve when we partner. So that's so cool.
Yeah,
So-
and they had volunteer days pretty much every weekend throughout this, so they played a major role, and we cannot thank them enough. Thank you.
Next up, under reports, is the Recreation Superintendent.
So, hello. I do want to welcome, some of you have not had the opportunity to meet Teresa Acuna. T is our recreation coordinator. She started in August, and after our August meeting, and she wasn't able to attend our November meeting, so I wanted to bring her here today to introduce her to all of you. And so, to move forward with our report, we began our winter-spring classes and activities registrations on January 4th, and we'll continue those registrations until either the classes close or until they're full. For our dance and fitness classes, this season we have 222 students registered in our dance classes of the maximum 350 spots that we had available. We are currently offering 28 group classes and 29 private lessons. The body shaping class continues to meet regularly as scheduled. In the sports, youth basketball continues to meet weekly and will conclude on March 1st with our 3 youngest divisions and on March 6th with our teen division. T has worked very closely with HR to get all of our volunteer coaches processed. That's like over 60 volunteers that we have that go through background checks and application processes and fingerprinting. There's all kinds of steps that have to be along, and they're not allowed to step on the court until all of those stages have been completed. So it is kind of time consuming. Also want to thank our 2 sponsors. We have Pond World and Angle Homes that have donated $3,000 to offset the cost of this program to operate. In the adult basketball program, games began on January 23rd and 24th. We run on 2 nights a week, Thursdays and Fridays. As some of you may or may not know, our challenge every year is facilities. We do not have our own gymnasiums. We do not have our own facilities. Our adult basketball league has been bouncing from school to school because we're trying to find a gym for them to play in that can accommodate without interfering with school functions and activities. Our adult basketball league will run through until April 4th would be their last game. Our upcoming volleyball league for this season has been pretty much, we're going to cancel it. It was supposed to start next week, but we don't have enough teams registered. The spring season for the last, I want to say 4 years, has had to been canceled. And I think my conclusion is, I know a lot of the players that play in our league, they have kids that do Little League, they coach, so which pulls them away from either making the choice of playing themselves or helping their children. And they're choosing their children, of course. So I think that's been one of the main reasons, because I'm sitting there trying to figure that out this morning. I sat back and I'm looking and I'm counting heads, because I also sit on the Little League board. So I volunteer with that league, and I'm sitting in the room looking at coaches, and I'm saying, all of these people, there's a lot of them that play volleyball, and I think that's why some of these leagues, our league is struggling to pursue forward with the spring season. So after putting 2 and 2 together, I said, oh, that's probably been the reason for the last few years. Let's see, going forward, we have, our department has been working very closely to accommodate all of the leagues that utilize our facilities. As we go forward, there's Kingman Academy Middle School, Kingman Academy High School. We have Lee Williams for tennis, and the schools were bouncing back and forth for soccer and tennis. As soon as one season ends, the next season starts back up. And we have the travel teams between Raptors baseball and softball, Turquoise Kings baseball and softball. There's just a lot of organizations, and now with Little League starting, everybody wants field time, and we're sitting there trying to do our best to like break them out accordingly. What we have done in our office for the last couple decades is in the evenings, you have to either choose 5 to 6:30 or 6:30 to 8. I mean, ideally, everybody would want to have a 6 o'clock practice or a 5:30 practice, but then that now only allows 1 practice on that field. So by forcing them to choose that time frame, it allows 2 practices per night per field versus just having 1. So let's see, leisure classes. This season, we had 2 different types of cooking and dessert type classes going on. One is our regular youth class that we've been used to do it only in the summer. For the last couple of years, we made them into a year-round program. This season seems to have a little bit of a slow start, so we are postponing it and trying to start it in March and extending it out until April instead of February and March. We also added a new parent and child cooking class, which takes place one Saturday a month. There are 3 separate classes. We had one set for February, March, and April. February was supposed to be this Saturday, but we only have 1 family registered, so we're probably going to cancel that one. But we do have 3 registered in March, and we're going to hope to see if we can move this one from this month to the March class as well. So basically, it gives the kids an opportunity with parents by a guided instructor to let them do hands-on with the kids, teach them how to cut, teach them how to do this, but they get to do it under the parent supervision. Special events, we just had our Cupid Family Night Bingo on Friday the 14th on Valentine's Day. It was a great success. I thought we had a good turnout considering that it was actually on Valentine's Day and there was quite a few people that turned up. Karen showed up. I want to thank Sandy for all the hard work she put in for this event, as well as all the other ones that we have coming up. She's been out soliciting sponsorships and donations, and she's doing a really good job with that. T and I actually helped her prep the meals on Thursday. We had everything re-layered. We did a Mexican-style dinner with enchiladas and rice and beans. We prepared enchiladas on Saturday, stuck them in the refrigerator, and all we had to do was heat them up. But of course, we have a small, regular-sized stove in our community center, so trying to cook for 70 people, 60 people, it's hard to try to get all those in at one time. But we did the best we could, and we did manage. So we went from there. We look forward to having some more events. Our next one's coming up on the schedule, as Matt mentioned earlier. March 1st is our Adventure Day Hike. We'll be having cars, whoever pre-registers, of course, it's a pre-registration required, so we know how to plan accordingly for snacks and food and water and such. But they'll meet at the South Trailhead and then hike over the top and come out at the end of the golf course there. We're going to provide a barbecue lunch for them. And with the help of Matt's team, he's going to have Katz, is it, possibly, or Matt himself will be guiding. Matt's going to guide the hike over the top of the mountain, bring us down to the golf course where Patrick's and Sam's crew will sit there and do a demonstration with the kids and allow the kids to do some putting, take them out on the chipping range. And then while we're cooking the food, everybody will be able to enjoy lunch afterward. And then we'll shuttle them back up to the starting point, so they'll be back at their cars. Unless they want to hike back over the mountain, they can do that. But if they want a shuttle service, they're like, we got to this side, now how do we get back? We have a van that we're going to transport everybody back over in. So it's a kind of a group effort between the 3 divisions, so we are looking forward to having that. March 14th is our drive-in movie night, and voting for movie choices should be on Facebook here shortly. And then on the 28th is it's a new program that we're going to put out. It's a S'mores and Stories. It's something we're working with the library on. It'd be a nighttime storytelling under the stars, and the kids will get to roast marshmallows and make s'mores. In April, we have our Breakfast with the Bunny. So the past several years, we had worked with Golden Corral, but since Golden Corral closed down, Christmas was the first time we got to experiment with this, and we did have Karen there as Mrs. Claus, and of course, Julie, there as well. She volunteered to help serve some meals and to get everybody ready. So it was a pretty good event. The only problem with this is, of course, if you're at Golden Corral, you can have 200 people come in. With us using our community center, we had to limit it to a maximum of 50 registrations, but we offered 2 sessions, and both sessions were full. So we took 100 people in on that for the Christmas one, and we're hoping to be just as successful with the Easter Bunny one. Also in April, we have our Paws and Hops, which takes place at the Centennial Park Dog Park. Patrons can bring their dogs in to take pictures with the Easter Bunny. Last year was the first time we did it, and we had about 20, 25 people show up. But it was also raining, so we kind of dealt with the weather and still had a decent turnout, which is what I found, especially for it being the first time. Also, the month of April, we have our scavenger egg hunt. So what Sandy does is she goes around through different parks, the trails, different areas within our department, and hides eggs with clues inside. And then inside it tells them what to do with the clue, or they come back to our office and they get to win a prize basket. Again, that's one of the things she's been out getting sponsorships and donations for, so they'll get to, and then we post the winners on Facebook with their prizes that they won. In aquatics, we are getting ready for summer. The pools are still closed for the season, but we have started our summer staff recruitment. So those that were seasonal employees last year, they got their letter sent out. We know how many are coming back. We know how many we have to replace. Our job applications are posted tomorrow, I believe they go posted. So anybody who's interested in a summer job should go online by tomorrow and start filling out applications. Our goal is to have all the applications submitted and processed of lifeguards and any of our seasonal staff by April 11th. Lifeguard training will also begin in April, so some of those participants may be interviewed before they actually complete their course, but we will know that by the end of their course completion, whether or not they're going to be hired as city employees if they have applied. So I think other than that, on the miscellaneous side of things, we did have one of our office attendants, Celeste. She kind of filled in for us over at Wallapai School, and she did the Literacy Day event that they had. She met and interacted with a lot of the families, handed them brochure books for our department, and they gave out little like giveaways and stuff like that she did. But other than that, that's about it. We're going to have all of our summer employees processed by May 9th with their orientation and everything beginning on May 23rd. Any questions?
I just have one about the youth basketball. Pawn World and Engel Holmes has been sponsoring these youth basketball for many, many years. I really want to thank them.
Yeah, we had Engel Holmes since even before I started, and I've been here 25 years. They were the sole sponsor for the longest time, but then when our leagues grew and developed from two leagues, from one league to 2 leagues to 3 leagues to 4 leagues, we acquired the additional sponsorship. And they both agreed as long as they will donate $3,000, so they do $1,500 apiece. As long as they're the sole sponsors, they'll continue to do it. All right. Anything else? All right, thank you. Oh,
Hi.
Beth, go ahead.
I just wanted to, and it's Sarah, but that's a compliment.
I know the minute I said it. I always do that. You and your mom.
I take that
I
as
call
a
her Sarah and I
compliment.
call you Beth.
That's okay. I'm just wondering, to help us be more effective as commissioners, is it possible to get some type of, with open meeting law in mind, some type of an email that can let us know when you need volunteers? And I can't always volunteer, but I can network and find people to help. I know you've asked me for
Yes.
a couple things, but I think as commissioners, just it would be helpful to know we're looking for volunteers, this event's coming up. Also, if you have any calls to action for us, like can you help us educate the community on this, or this event is coming up and numbers are down, can you share this on your personal social medias, or is there
Okay.
any other way
What
we
I
can
could
help
do-
you as a commission?
Actually, I have it's a spreadsheet, it's a calendar of events on a spreadsheet. What I could do is I can make that a little bit more user-friendly, because what we have in our office is a little bit different than what all of you would have to have. But I could separate that and have Mike send it to you. And then any of you are more than welcome to come and help at any of the events that we have. Just reach out to me in advance so we can plan accordingly. Some of them are lower scale and it only takes like 2 people. There's other ones that take 10 people. There's other ones that take 40 people. It's just, it just depends on, every event is different.
Yeah.
So, but I can send that out. This way you guys can put it on your calendar and you say, hey, this is when this Parks and Rec event is. And if you want to show up, you can just come. And if you want to help, then you can help and just let me know in advance. So that way we know if you're planning on being there.
Okay,
but we
that
could do
would be
that.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Anyone else? All right, thank you again.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Next up is the Parks Superintendent Report.
All right, Jerry was unable to make it today, so I will be sharing the park superintendent report with you as well. All right, perfect. Started off the Centennial Field 5 enclosure. So with this project, park staff had to go in and remove the old outfield fence, some sections of fence near the dugouts, and a couple of trees. Then American Fence came in and they outlined the new fence area and set the poles. Took them about an additional week to install the horizontals and chain link and install gates. There's minimal irrigation damage. We had 2 laterals hit and we had to relocate part of the main line. But overall, it was a fairly successful project, went pretty quick. Not related to Field 5, but Field 4, lights went down on that. We had some old wiring connections kind of burn out, and we had to trench and replace a big section of that. Lewis Kingman Park upgrades, we're pretty much finished with that at this point, but the new restrooms had power trenched and ran to them. We installed decorative rock in between the old and new restroom and kind of beyond that point. Soap dispensers and some feminine waste bag holders in the restrooms, stuff that just didn't come with it. We also installed 2 benches near the playground, so additional seating for people enjoying that playground. And then the restrooms and playground are now complete and open, and the ramadas up front have been lowered. We're not completely done with the playground there, and the Ramada 1 we're also going to be expanding. So while we're not completely done with the playground, last year during the commission meeting of the playground improvements was some rubberized surfacing that was supposed to go to a couple apparatuses, so we're still planning on that. We're waiting on to hear from Place-Based Design on the installation date on that still. And then we're gonna expand Ramada 1, basically doubling its size, and it'll have a sidewalk from that Ramada to the playground there as well. So those are upcoming things that should happen this fiscal year. Parks received some new equipment and vehicles. So the Toro Sidewinder we've been trying to get for a couple of years finally was available, so we have that now. So both Centennial and Southside Park will be able to mowed with that piece of equipment, which is just better. We can reduce the mow height a little bit, which is better for sports, and it has the rollers and stuff. It's just a better product for what we're mowing. We received a water excavator that should help with a lot of irrigation issues we have, especially in like root heavy areas. A lot of our mainline breaks are generally caused by roots from trees. Yeah, so digging around those with just shovel and stuff was very difficult in the past, so that'll definitely make it more efficient. We also received a new Bobcat tractor. A lot of that, it'll replace the older equipment we had, and we'll be able to do some more cultural practices with it. And then we received 3 of our trucks that we requested in FY24, and then a dump truck that we had to rebudget for in FY25. So starting to replace a lot of equipment, which definitely helps just our day-to-day. Miscellaneous improvements, Centennial and Southside Park, we burned the foul lines in and sprayed the warning tracks in preparation for the upcoming seasons for softball and baseball. The Powerhouse had the new dog park that's going in there had fence installed, so we're getting ready to plan for the irrigation installation and turf and a drinking fountain, everything that goes in with the dog park. So once that's done, we'll be maintaining that as well, but it'll be a nice feature for everyone coming into Kingman, especially with the charging stations there. Locomotive Park, we set up for the holiday lighting and tore that down. We supplied audio for the parade of lights downtown. Southside Park, we moved the mounds back on fields 5 and 6 in preparation for Little League. Throughout the parks, we removed some stumps, Centennial, firefighters, and hubs. Wallach Ranch Park, we finally received the parts in for the spinner apparatus that was broken, so that's back up and running. Over the last quarter, we did 68 irrigation issue fixes and then 324 MROs completed totaled. For safety and training, we had a dead tree removed at Firefighters Memorial Park that was behind the grill. Added engineered wood fiber to several playground locations, Southside Park, Wallach Ranch, Firefighters. We hosted a member of the Parks Maintenance from Lake Havasu City to demo some of the equipment, more specifically the stump grinder attachment we have for our Bobcat. Lewis Kingman Park, kind of just something our Park Superintendent Jerry Sipes seen on Facebook, but a swing broke, and within minutes he had someone there on site fixing it, and I'll kind of touch base on that with the vandalism here in a minute too. And then this last month I went and recertified for a playground safety inspector. Vandalism for this last quarter, we had restroom doors pulled from hinges at Firefighters Memorial Park, fireworks set off in the restrooms at Firefighters Memorial Park, paper towel dispensers destroyed, likely not be replacing paper towel dispensers at that location, unfortunately. Just reoccurring issue doesn't seem to make sense. Keep spending the money on that. Bolts on the harness swing were tampered with at Lewis Kingman that caused the failure, so someone actually tampered with that, so unfortunately it came loose when someone was using it. Since then, we did replace it and used Loctite, so it shouldn't be an issue. Graffiti covering the whole side of the restroom at Wallach Ranch Park, and then we had 7 incidents of toilet paper being lit on fire in restrooms. 6 of those incidents were at Cecil Davis Park alone, and it was kind of the time frame in between when the maintenance team left and like the Rangers came and closed the restroom in the slower season, and then one of those incidents was actually at the new restrooms, like one of the first weekends it was open ever at Lewis Kingman, so that was unfortunate. And then the granite memorial benches over at the Firefighters Park monument area was vandalized. Year-to-date estimation for our fiscal year anyways is $12,550. That's all I have for you. Do you have any questions?
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, do we have any updates on plans for cameras?
So it's the budget request for that actually just got entered. So be 21 cameras we're requesting throughout the park locations. I think 1 trailhead. I mean, the biggest issue with that is power. And a lot of these cameras that the city is going to right now run off of network cables, so like Ethernet. So having that supplied, or like some kind of internet switch, if you will. So they have to have at least power near them. But we requested 21 cameras additional to like the 4 we're already getting.
Nice, thank you so much. I know, I mean, obviously we can't have cameras in the bathrooms, and it seems like this is an out-of-sight kind of place where a lot of this vandalism is happening. But I do wonder if maybe, I mean, we had said we can't really put signs up as a prevention if we don't actually have the cameras. And so maybe having these cameras, maybe there's some possibility that they can be pointed, you know, at the doors of the restrooms to see when people are coming out.
Yes, so the location that works best, it's most suitable for most of these cameras, will be basically right over the entries of the restroom facing out into the park. So that should be recorded, and they're going to mostly locations that are heavy use and that see frequent vandalism.
That's great. And I've seen at, you know, malls when you're a kid, and there's lots of theft and stuff, these signs that are on the bathroom doors on the inside that say like, you'll be fined $30,000 if you steal something. I just wonder if, you know, there's going to be people that don't listen to signs, but if we can catch some of them, is there any possibility to do any of this preventative?
Yeah, I know there's a couple locations that have, like Wallach Ranch has it on the door to the in-between, but there's a chain door over it, so it's maybe not getting the exposure it needs, but signs pretty much only keep honest people honest.
Yeah. Well, and it keeps, because I read about this, it also keeps the honest people that keep the other people in line.
That's true, some self-governance, right?
Yeah, there's some self-governance there, so. All right, thank you, that's great, thank you guys.
Crazy question.
Yes.
People being what they are, do we have to say, smile, you're on camera, or can we just say, smile and let them wonder?
It's probably a question better for Carl.
Okay, I mean, really, because, I don't know. Anyway, just a thought.
Okay, Matt,
Yes.
going through these reports, your 2 pool technicians, they attended a confined space training by ADOT.
Yes.
Exactly what is that?
So it's more for like confined spaces. So we have like one area that may fall into that, but it's areas that only have like one exit typically, or have like some kind of atmospheric like situation that you might go into. The city was offering it. A lot of other departments have some confined spaces, and just precaution. We had them go. They deal with chemicals. I mean, they primarily have 2 means of exit, and they work in a pair anyways. So we're pretty compliant there. But just to as a added safety feature to have that training under their belts.
Okay. And also the Colorado River Corvette Club met wreaths across America?
Yes, yeah, that did happen in December. That was a pretty big event, I would say. But they presented a wreath for each branch of the military, and we helped with the at least some of the chairs.
Okay, that's quite an organization there, and especially what the wreaths stand for and where they go there at Arlington.
Yes, yeah, and they plan to do so. They rotate to different cities each year, so we'll probably have them back in the nenext 3 years. So they'll do Havasu and Bullhead. Same with a lot of their tree donations. They rotate throughout the cities, but about every 3 years or so, we get some tree donations from them. They're interested in doing some tree donations for Arbor Day coming up.
Okay, very good. Anyone else?
One thing I wanted to touch on too before, the zip cruise that's going into Centennial Park, that has an estimated install date of the week of March 19th. So hopefully we'll be seeing some traction on that next month. And then the rest of the playground, just to give you an update, we're still waiting to hear from Place-Based Designs.
All right, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Next up is the Golf Course Superintendent Report.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you again. I hope everybody had a chance to kind of look through my submitted report. I'll try to brief this down as much as I can. I know everybody had a sandwich, so, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for a nap, so. Anyway, just kidding. So I'd like to start out, we had several stakeholder meetings, and we've received some complaints, if you would, back from some of our golfers on things that were going on. So we made the decision to bring in 2 separate consultants, over the last quarter. One of those was David Yoshimura from Fairway Irrigation Design to look at our inner loop irrigation system. Every time I'm up here talking to you guys, we're talking about irrigation problems. Most people don't realize, but the original 9, or the inner loop, what we call it, dates back almost 50 years on some of this, and so that's part of the reason that we're always fixing it. So he was able to provide a bid for a design, and we're kind of moving forward with that through our capital right now. Hopefully that'll get to council at some point and they'll be able to review it, and then we can really look at maybe updating this over the next few years, trying to break it out where it's not so expensive all at one time. But so we would start with the design. And then also we brought out by a guy by the name of Steve McDonald from Turfgrass Disease Solutions. We brought him out at the beginning of January because, as everybody knows, and every time I'm up here talking and we get to the subject of greens, we start talking about weeds. We've got a weed on our green that's very invasive. There is no herbicide on the market that is labeled to cure this weed. And so we decided to bring him in. He works at top clubs, private clubs all over the world. So we went down the list. Mike and I spent probably 3/4 of a day with him. It was all great information. He addressed a lot of the issues that golf leadership team had, including this. And so I kind of broke it down by area. So for the greens, we reviewed all the current cultural practices that we're doing now: aerification, seeding, types of seeds, fertilizers, the herbicide that we were using to try to control the weed. And he also made a recommendation for a new product. And like I said, I hope everybody got a chance to look at what I submitted. As you can tell from the pictures, it's almost working too quick. Our bent grass is kind of dormant right now, and so it's killing the weed out. But our bent grass really isn't filling that back in yet. So we've gone from, 7 years that I've been here trying to control it to, we better slow this down just a hair until we get growing. So the good news is it's working, the plan that he put us on. And so in my opinion, it was worth every dime. Moving on to tee boxes, we discussed, first thing is our, for the amount of rounds we put through our tee boxes, our actual size of them, the square foot, way undersized. And so we have a lot of issues with divot patterns and tee mark replacements. And so we kind of went down a plan of, let's move them around a little bit more. Let's, narrow them up a little bit so we're not tearing up as much turf at one time. So since then, we've implemented in the maintenance department mapping for those very things. And so if my guys go out and move tee markers, or if they're sand and divots, we're mapping that so that I can track actually how often are we really doing this. So the other thing on the tees, we started building some new forward tees. This is all part of, you're fine. It's all part of an initiative of USGA Tee It Forward program. So it serves two purposes. One, it's really great for junior golf or non-experienced golfers, so that if we get, say, a family of 4 on a Sunday morning at 8 o'clock that have never played, then Sam's not ripping out the rest of his hair because they're holding up play. And we're encouraging them to move forward to these tee boxes. That way they're having a more enjoyable time, they're coming back, and then we're still able to not hold people up. So fairways, kind of going back to that, he identified the same thing. You know, we've got a lot of irrigation issues in our fairways, and that leads to poor turf quality. And that's kind of what some of the complaints were based on. So kind of leading into that, we discussed back to desert areas. And that's something that, you know, we've been working on since day one. Mike had a plan when I got there, and I've advanced that plan a little bit, and we've talked with him about this plan. And really, it boils down to right now, if we're not going to be able to renovate our irrigation system, we got to figure out a way to make what we have better. And the only way to do that is to start eliminating sprinklers and eliminating turf. Not necessarily a bad thing, because we're all worried about water conservation anyway. So, and it would all be in areas that really never sees play, so to speak. You know, so we're not just going to go rip out all the turf around the greens or anything like that, but at least not yet. And then we addressed the bunkers. He's in love with the idea that we're using now, you know, flat bottoms, grass slopes, keep the sand where it's at. And it's important to note that after both of the visits from the consultants, we've implemented almost everything that they recommended. So like I said, it was really great for us. Another exciting project is the new approach on 16. We made the decision to fill in the dirt ravine in front of it that catches a lot of balls and slows play because people are looking for them. You could, again, from the pictures that I submitted, you can tell, you know, we ran some pretty significant drainage through the area, so when we get thunderstorms, we don't have to worry about it getting all wiped out. A lot of dirt hauled in, but we were able to harvest all that from right behind our driving range, so it was close. Few minor irrigation movements were made, but not a lot. We only added 2 sprinklers to the area, and they were little pop-up sprinklers, and they were in an area that we're gonna make a grass bunker out of, if you will. So it'll still serve as a hazard, and it's worth noting that even once this is completed, 16 is still a very challenging hole. 99% of the people that came through when we were working on it was just, they're applauding it. They just dislike the way the hole played before, and so they're excited to see the work. We'll be sodding that area as soon as our turf starts moving a little bit. We're going to take one of those areas that I talked about between 16 and 18 that never really sees a ball. It's close. We're going to pull that turf and sod that new approach. So, just a few more things. We installed a bunch of new 90-degree crossover signs, and they were actually designed by one of our part-time parks people, so that was great. But we're trying to educate our customers, and you know, if you're going to be out on the fairway, let's go sideways on it, not straight down it, because cart traffic kills us big time, especially this time of year when we're not growing. We got multiple bunkers edged back out. I recently attended the GCSAA Education Conference in San Diego. In fact, that was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It's always nice to know, for one, you're not alone in the world. Everybody else is having the same problems you're having. And then our Assistant Superintendent, Alex Prokop, and our irrigation technician, Zach Rockhold, attended our Toro Links training for 4 days in Goodyear. That is to just keep up. Everything irrigation-wise is going to apps. It's all going mobile like everything else. And so I wanted to make sure that those guys going into summer had the training that they needed. Try to keep on top of things. And so unlike Matt, I'm still waiting on my triplex mower. We're going on, I don't know how many months now. I've lost count. So we're hoping to see that sometime soon too. And then lastly, 3/4 inch of rain with a light dusting of snow we got on the 27th. That marked the first measurable rain since last August. So we've had the hottest, driest record on since I've been in the golf business, and the golf course is in really good shape for that, I think. So, and lastly, I always like to thank the maintenance crew, because those guys they keep up on everything. So if it wasn't for them, none of us would be here. So with that, I'll try to take any questions you may have.
I had one, is when you talk about the tee boxes being cut up, I assume you're talking about the par threes mostly. Is 8 the worst one you have in terms of expanding the tee box?
Really, it's all of them. It's not just the par threes. Yeah, they get a more of a different pattern. But, if you look at like 10 is so much smaller than 8. 8's actually a little bit easier to maintain because of the 2 different levels. So we can move the tee markers all to the bottom, sand on the top, let it grow in, move things back.
Okay, so you just play the whole short of that.
Yeah, it would just be
Okay.
played a little bit shorter. And then part of doing these new tees, even these family tees, is we want to get our course re-rated. And that way we can put split tee boxes on our scorecard so that we can move even for sanctioned play.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that'll help us too.
I just had a question about, so when does the new golf commission begin? Are you
April,
guys?
right?
I'm going to talk about that in my,
Okay,
that's what
okay.
my director reports about, so, thank you.
Thank you.
And since that's been brought up, I would just like to say that, thank you all very much for listening to me stand up here ramble about golf. And no, seriously, I appreciate your guys' time, especially moving things to lunchtime. That's so much easier on staff. So really appreciate it. And maybe I'll see some of your faces on that commission.
Pat, I just want to, the 90-degree signs, are any of those going to be like up on the cart? Because new things,
Yeah.
sometimes people don't like new things, but it's right there on the cart. It will remind them to do that, use that.
Absolutely. We put them up in our placards. We put them in our course restrooms. We put them in the clubhouse restrooms, and then we put I put 7 aluminum signs on the course as well. So
Great. Also, since that's your last report for us in this commission, I want to thank you for your reports through the years. So,
absolutely, thank you.
and good luck with the new commission.
Absolutely, thank you.
Patrick, I'd like to, before you get away there, I'd just like to thank you and your crew for all the work you do out there. I don't usually see you dressed so nice. Usually you're muddy from head to toe when I see you. So I just want to thank you. I wouldn't want to be out there digging in that mud myself.
Well, I love my job. I wouldn't trade it for anything. So I appreciate that, though, and I'll pass it on to the crew. Like I said, if it wasn't for them, that golf course wouldn't be near what it is. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Next up is the Golf Pro Shop and Grill Report.
Well, according to that clock, it's good morning, but I'll say good afternoon. How about that? So just quite a few tournaments. They had the Cowboy Classic tournament in November 2nd this year. Normally it's in October, but they got a little late start. That's a tournament where everyone has to wear a cowboy hat, and I think they're given a 2-stroke penalty if they take it off before they hit the golf ball. I booked a tournament for the Kingman High School class of 78 for next October 4th. That's the year I graduated many years ago. We did hire 2 beverage cart attendants. We're getting them out there a lot more on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, assuming the weather is decent, and it has been recently. And they've done a pretty good job, made a little bit extra money for us. We hired 1 new marshal, Barry, mainly on Saturdays. Patrick and I had a Zoom meeting with Golf Genius, which is a software program for tournament software, marketing, email blasts, text blasting. That's kind of where the industry's going. And what caught my eye was the marketing aspect in Phoenix and Las Vegas. And we're going to lose the best marketing program we have when that wall gets put up. I mean, how many cars a day drive by and see that golf course? We're not gonna have that anymore. So probably what, Patrick? Probably get that going next fiscal year. So hopefully that'll work out. I did set up a demo day with our Cleveland Strixon rep. For you golfers, a demo day, he'll bring out all of his clubs, give you a free fitting if you want, get to try out the drivers, wedges, irons, see what your lie angle is. That's just where the club impacts the ground and it affects the ball flight. So if you've never been fit for golf clubs, pretty cool deal. It's worth it. Booked 3 more tournaments a couple of weeks ago. The Canadian Club, the Kingman Academy, PTO, and the Kingman Knockouts. Mike Magnera from G1 came by. We have an iPad that hadn't been in use for technical reasons, but we're going to get it in use so the beverage car drivers can start using credit cards out on the golf course. Prior to Mike coming out, we didn't have that. We did host a tournament on February 3rd, the Battle of Mojave County. That went pretty well. The Desert Construction Shuffler Tournament, that's our biggest tournament of the year, confirmed their tournament June 21st and June 22nd. And the Firemen had their Arctic Blast December 20th. But if I remember correctly, it wasn't like 70 degrees that day, so it wasn't much of an Arctic blast. That's about it. I'd like to reiterate Pat's sentiments. I guess my biggest mentor in the golf business told me years ago when we got into teaching, he said, it's more the student wants to know that you care more than he cares what you know. And I think y'all have both, passion and intelligence. So thank you for that. Any questions on anything? No? Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
I have a question about the demo day.
Yeah.
Now, those clubs, are they donated clubs?
Well, no, they're the
Are they
rep.
brand new?
The rep owns the clubs.
Oh, okay.
So he's bringing them out. It's a sales pitch for the rep.
Okay, okay. And I want to thank you also for your years of your reports here.
Thank you.
With this commission, and good luck with the new one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Now, we have the director report.
Okay, so all I'm going to basically with this report is to let you know that this is the last meeting of the PARG Commission, and it's going to be called the PART Commission now, Parks, Aquatics, Recreation, and Trails. And then it was determined by the council that several golfers felt like they're not being well represented, and it was a little bit of a surprise to me, basically, because they've never shown up at this meeting. So, I mean, if they felt like they weren't represented by this commission, they should have come to these meetings, because I appreciate this commission and what you guys do. So, but they've decided to have a golf commission. So, and if any of you want to jump to the golf commission, I hope not too many, because I think this is a really awesome commission. But and that's going to start. The golf commission is going to start in April, and we had a golf commission before, so it's nothing new in a sense to me. Obviously, Karen remembers back in the day we had a golf commission. So, but that's going to start in April. So our next meeting will be the PART Commission. So, and it's all good. I think we have plenty to discuss there. So, that's about all I have to talk about the new commission. So, and I want to say for sure thank you all for what you do for our parks and keeping us in line and all the good ideas. So appreciate it.
Announcements by commission members? Anyone? Oh, Sarah.
Surprise. Thank you guys. I'm kind of chatty, so I really appreciate all of you answering my questions. And to you parks guy, golf course guys, I've learned so much. When I first became a part of the commission, Mike took me for a ride out on the golf course, and I was so impressed by all of the, rainwater harvesting efforts you guys are doing out there. And I think it'll be really great to get some of those, the green that's not used, back to the desert. I know that has its own, trials, but it sounds like you guys are doing a really great job. And I do think if more of the golfers came out and saw and heard your reports, they'd really be grateful for how great our course is here. So thank you guys for all your work. I did want to ask if I could put the wind phone on the agenda. And also I was wondering if we might put adopt a parks on the agenda. I think as a commission, we can really be a big part of making that happen for our city. So thank you.
I have just a couple things, of course. I wanted to welcome our council liaison, Jamie Staley, but with our meeting today going longer than usual, she probably had to go back to work. But yes, I did want to welcome her. And with the busy spring coming up, these departments are busy, busy, busy. So I just, parks, golf, recreation, the trails, and aquatics will be coming in too. I just want to wish everyone well going into that busy season.
And then I have a couple of announcements when you're done. I just want to also touch on Sunbelt Park. For those of you, obviously, where everybody's anxious to hear about that, but right now we've got requests for qualifications out for a construction manager at risk for that project. We would like to get them on board so that, and then drainage channel is 90% designed. So we want to get the construction manager at risk in place so we can start construction basically right away and get that drainage channel put in, so that it will allow us to move on with the park. So we're excited for that. And then I also wanted to update you on the Grandview Pool. The Grandview Pool, what we're going to do, we're going to patch the test holes. They did test holes to see if the concrete structure is good there, and they found out that it is. But we don't have time to get a brand new vinyl liner and do all that before this year, so we're going to patch what we have. And the new design of the pump room and heaters and everything else is complete. And we'll be ready to, when we close the pool this year. So we're just going to patch it up to get it open for this year. And then at the end of the year, we'll close it down and start construction. So what's the biggest thing about the construction of it is it's got to be the concrete decking all around the whole outside, and every metal piece has to be grounded. So it's quite a maze of wiring that's got to go on underneath that decking. So, and that's for safety. So it's obviously important to get that done. But I think it's really important that we are able to stay open for the year. So that's what our plan is with that. And I really want to thank all these guys, obviously, and Yvonne. Not all guys, but they're all awesome. And we're very fortunate to have them all. So thank you all.
Anyone else? I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed to that? Okay, motion adjourned. This meeting has ended.